Yeah, one more minute. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming here. Uh, we'll begin our event shortly, and welcome also to those who are watching from YouTube channel. Hello, everyone. So, let me introduce myself. My name is Effie Mariani. I'm one of the co-founders and the executive director of Project Multatuli, uh, public journalism initiative in Indonesia. If you want to visit projectmultatuli.org. And with us, very exciting. With us are like two authors, and this is the author forum number 4. So my eyes. The theme is celebrating foreignness and otherness. Let me introduce and then,
saya sambil itu saya perkenankan saya terjemahkan dulu Bu Evi. Selamat datang semua. Terima kasih sudah turut bergabung bersama kita dan selamat datang juga yang sudah bergabung melalui YouTube. Moderator kita Ibu Evi Mariani. Beliau merupakan salah satu pendiri dan dari Multatuli Project. Boleh dikunjungi websitenya projectmultatuli.org. Di sini hari ini kita sudah kedatangan 2 pembicara, panelis, penulis juga yang akan berbicara tentang tema keasingan, foreignness.
Okay, thank you, Mas Bimo, our interpreter for today. Here with us is Margareta Astaman, but you're more, I think, known as Margie, right? Margie. Popular name is Margie. Okay, hello Margie, welcome. Margie is very impressive here. I'm reading her resume. Career is a CEO of Nusantara Segar Global. I believe it's a Java Fresh, exporter of tropical fruits, I think. Tropical fruits, yeah.
It's hard to link between writing and export, but
okay, but if yeah, please sure grab your the mic. The microphone. Okay. Before that, she's speakers for creative writing, digital literacy, and entrepreneurship. Oh, okay. Creative writing, entrepreneurship. That's it.
many people will know the link, but there gotta be some link difference.
Yes. You can tell us later more about that. She finished her bachelor in communication in Nanyang Technology University of Singapore, journalism and publishing division in 2008. I believe you will also tell us more about your time in Singapore, right?
That's right. I read the whole book about it.
Yes, and her books, God, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 books. I think the newest one, I will only mention the newest one, yeah. The Overqualified Leftover Club, penerbit buku Kompas.
Yes, just fresh from the oven.
Fresh from the oven. congrats for the new book.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and next to Margie.
Ya, saya terjemahkan dulu.
Oh ya,
ya ini Mbak Margie di sini. Beliau juga nama lengkapnya adalah Mbak Margareta Astaman, namun nama terkenalnya, nama panggungnya adalah Mbak Margie. Beliau juga merupakan eksportir juga, Nusantara Segar, dan merupakan wirausaha juga, dan fokus di creative writing juga. Sudah menulis 9 buku. Buku terakhirnya adalah Overqualified Leftover Club. Ini baru terbit. Beliau juga lulusan dari jurusan jurnalistik di Nanyang Technological University di Singapura. Itu sebabnya buku Mbak Margie ini banyak bercerita di Singapura, tentang di Singapura, karena beliau menulis waktu di Singapura.
Thank you. Next to Margie is Miss Warsan Witsan. Do I pronounce the? Thank you. Warsan is her pen name, and her given name from birth is Nemo Adam. Warsan has a degree in public health, diploma in project management, skillful for public relationship, a feminist writer with empowering social rights with my pen name Warsan. Sorry, she's a co-founder and director of Sisterhood Women's Organization. If you're curious about that organization, please open the powerofsisterhood.net. They also have an Instagram account, Sisterhood Community Center in Jakarta. Please follow them. Also, another position is Warsan is a co-founder and director of Operational Collective in Indonesia of the Archipelago, a literary magazine. Project Multatuli and the Archipelago collaborated for articles, and I think maybe next month we are going to read Warsan's piece in both the Archipelago and Project Multatuli. The Archipelago also has a Twitter account and Instagram account. Please follow them both to follow Warsan's work more. Okay. Mas Bimo, please.
Jadi Warsan Witsan ini merupakan nama pena. Nama asli beliau adalah Neno Adams. Beliau juga memiliki gelar, sudah melakukan studi untuk public health, diplomasi, juga public relations juga. Beliau juga merupakan pendiri dari powersisterhood.net, itu bisa dikunjungi situsnya Sisterhood, dan beliau juga merupakan pendiri dari Archipelago Writers Collective yang berbasis di Jakarta, yang berfokus untuk melakukan kolaborasi untuk artikel-artikel. Nanti akan ada kolaborasi artikel antara Archipelago Writers dan Multatuli dalam waktu dekat.
So between Margie and Warsan, they share commonality, a common history or story about fleeing their own home, leaving their country. In Margie's case, you return after leaving Indonesia, but Warsan, you left Somalia, right? How many years ago? 6 years ago, and she's still here, trying to, so to speak, finding her new home. So maybe Margie first, please tell us about the situation. Why did you leave Indonesia and then go to Singapore, right? Okay. And then return to Indonesia.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mevi.
Ya, jadi di sini ada kesamaan antara Mbak Margie dan Warsan. Keduanya sama-sama harus mengungsi, pindah dari negaranya, pindah dari rumahnya untuk Mbak Marji akhirnya kembali ke Indonesia setelah tinggal di Singapura. Namun untuk Warsan ini sedikit berbeda karena beliau mengungsi dari Somalia 6 tahun yang lalu dan sekarang berusaha untuk mencari rumahnya yang baru termasuk di sini. Sekarang akan diberi kesempatan untuk Mbak Marji untuk menjelaskan situasinya bagaimana ketika Mbak Marji meninggalkan Indonesia, tinggal di Singapura dan sekarang tinggal lagi di Indonesia, kembali lagi di Indonesia.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mbak Evi. Maybe I will just share a little stories. Starting when I was 12 years old, it was the first time I realized that I was Chinese. I was 12 years old at the time. Of course, people here, the audience, might look at my face, look at my eyes, and my sister is here as well. And how could you not realizing that you're Chinese until you're 12 years old? I have a pictures of me in the slide. That yeah. This is me as a little girl, and yeah, I look Chinese, definitely. But I didn't realize it because my parents, we never actually practiced any Chinese custom. We didn't celebrate Chinese New Year. We didn't really celebrate Cheng Beng, Cap Gome, and all these other celebrations at the time. And my parents couldn't speak Chinese either, not even the yes and no. So we lived just as normal Indonesians until I was 12 years old at the time. And I remember during that time when I live in Kelapa Gading and lots of my school friends were Chinese, and at that time Chinese New Year was not a holiday, so a lot of my friends eventually took a day off during the Chinese New Year and then the school was empty and we were sent back home earlier, and my mom asked, why are you coming back home earlier? And then I was saying that, oh, the usual in Indonesian is, ya biasa tuh Cina-Cina pada bolos soalnya Chinese New Year, soalnya Imlek, something like that. So I wasn't really aware about being Chinese until it was May 1998 riot. I was 12 at that time. Yes, please.
Jadi saya ingin berbagi cerita saya. Saya baru sadar kalau saya peranakan Tiongkok, Cina waktu saya berumur 12 tahun. Waktu itu saya belum disadarkan. Walaupun secara wajah saya tidak terlihat Cina, tapi saya baru sadar karena orang tua saya juga tidak pernah berbahasa Tiongkok, tidak pernah merayakan Imlek atau Cap Gome di rumah, tidak pernah mempraktikkan budaya-budaya Tiongkok. Tapi waktu itu saya bersekolah di Kelapa Gading, dan waktu itu Imlek bukan hari libur nasional. Waktu itu para muridnya di sekolah saya itu dipulangkan dari sekolahnya. Terus ibu saya, kenapa kok tidak sekolah, katanya bolos semua katanya waktu itu.
Okay, and then during that 1998 riot, I remembered that I saw that my parents become very afraid of the situations. Kelapa Gading is like a so-called new Chinatown in Jakarta. So the area surrounding it were actually already filled with mass, ready to actually enter our complex at the time. And I remember, actually, I asked my mom, why are we so afraid? Because she was preparing the swords, the ninja swords, and everything, how to protect ourselves, how to actually keep ourselves and stuff. And I told them that, the people who were being raped and robbed, they were Chinese. We're not Chinese. We're okay, right? And my mom said, we are Chinese. So yeah, it was the moment.
Dan itu semua berubah sejak waktu kerusuhan 98 terjadi. Waktu itu saya melihat orang tua saya takut sekali. Kami juga tinggalnya waktu itu di Kelapa Gading. Kelapa Gading kan waktu itu dianggap sebagai pecinan. Waktu itu dikelilingi masjid, itu orang siap-siap masuk ke wilayah Kelapa Gading. Saya ngelihat orang tua saya, ibu saya kok langsung siap-siap pedang, siap-siap senjata untuk melindungi diri sendiri. Saya tanya, kok semua takut? Kenapa semua takut gitu? Kan yang dirampok, yang diperkosa itu kan orang Tiongkok, keturunan Tiongkok. Kita kan bukan orang Cina. Ibu saya bilang, iya kita Cina sebetulnya.
So in a fortnight, my identity changed fully. From someone who felt really secure living in Jakarta, feeling as a part of the country, understanding, memorizing Pancasila and all other stuff, it totally changed into someone who are actually a so-called minority, so-called a second-class citizen. And I should be someone who should feel afraid when there is a social unrest. And so everything changed. Like I saw one of the supermarket was being burnt near our complex, and I saw the heat, and I was afraid. I was supposed to be afraid right now because apparently in this country and in this in how I look and how the identity that I have at that time, I should be afraid then.
Ya, jadi ternyata identitas saya langsung berubah sekaligus dalam waktu yang sangat tiba-tiba drastis. Jakarta, Indonesia yang saya anggap sebagai rumah saya sudah hafal Pancasila, tiba-tiba secara drastis saya langsung warga minoritas. Tiba-tiba saya langsung warga kelas 2. Tiba-tiba kalau misalnya setiap kali ada kerusuhan sosial, saya langsung merasa takut, saya langsung otomatis merasa cemas. Semua itu berubah karena saya juga melihat supermarket di dekat rumah saya itu dijarah, dibakar ya, dan saya langsung merasa takut.
So I grew up in that time as a teenager. I didn't get the chance to flee the country at that time. A lot of the Chinese are actually having the chance. We didn't at the time. So I grew up feeling afraid, understanding that I am Chinese, but I cannot show that I'm Chinese. Some of my friends here in high school knew that whenever they call it, but you're Chinese, and I said, no, gue bukan Cina. It's something that I have to deny. And I remember that whenever we have this suku column, ethnicity column, we have to fill it. My dad will actually taught me to write Indonesia in there. Whereas my friends will write Jawa, Batak, Sunda. I write Indonesia. It's like filling a name of a fruit in a vegetable column. You know, that's how I feel. And after that, I grew up feeling that way, and knowing who I am, but not daring actually to speak up of who I am. Until one day I left Jakarta for Singapore. It was during my university time, and in the first day of in that university, my identity changed again.
Ya, jadi saya juga sebagai kesempatan waktu remaja saya tidak punya kesempatan untuk melarikan diri dari Indonesia sebagaimana teman-teman saya. Saya sadar saya itu keturunan Cina, tapi saya tidak bisa menunjukkan kalau saya keturunan Cina. Jadi saya juga selalu menyangkal. Teman-teman saya bilang, kamu kan keturunan Cina, tapi bukan, saya bukan Cina. Jadi kalau di kolom suku ada teman-teman saya nulis Jawa, Batak, saya selalu tulis Indonesia. Jadi saya tumbuh besar, tahu siapa saya, tapi saya tidak berani memberitahu orang siapa identitas saya. Begitu saya meninggalkan Indonesia untuk berkuliah di Singapura, pas hari pertama kuliah, identitas saya langsung berubah lagi.
On that day, the first day of attending the school, we have to attend this medical checkup. And we have to write in Singapore usually a name, nationality, and then also ethnicity. And just like usual, in that form of race, I put Indonesia. And then I got scolded by the medical examiner. He was like, are you Indonesian or Indonesian Chinese? I was like, I'm Indonesian. No. You Indonesian Malay or Chinese? And I was like, okay, I'm Chinese, Indonesian Chinese. Then you write here Chinese lah. And then I was like, no, I've been written Indonesia for my race for my whole life. And I was like, no, but I'm Indonesian. Indonesia is your country name. You put here nationality Indonesia, but here you put Chinese. And so I was quite shocked at that time. I was taken aback. So my identity changed again at that time, realizing that in the eyes of some people, it's actually okay, it's actually fine to be Indonesia and to be Chinese at the same time. That there is nothing wrong with that. That is just two identities that I have, and one does not actually against the others.
Dan waktu itu cerita juga waktu harus medical check up ya Mbak ya, terus dicek kan ada nama, warga negara, etnisitas. Kemudian saya tulis warga negara Indonesia, etnisitinya tetap Indonesia, etnis Indonesia. Ditegur sama pemeriksa kesehatannya, tenaga kesehatannya, ini kamu Melayu apa Cina? Saya bilang Indonesia gitu, tapi enggak, Indonesia tuh negaranya, etnisnya apa, harus ditulis Cina gitu. Nah terus waktu itu saya kaget, tapi saya baru sadar ternyata boleh ya Cina juga, Indonesia juga pada satu bersamaan, pada saat yang bersamaan. Jadi hal itu tidak harus bertabrakan.
And I think living in Singapore gives me a lot of the so-called privilege in terms of experience, because when I was in Singapore, suddenly I became the majority. The Chinese are 70% and the Malays are the other percents. And I got the chance to actually reflect back towards my experience being the so-called minority in Indonesia. What are the things that have always been assumed, all the prejudices, how we actually have to deal with the interracial relationships and stuff like that. So I think during that time I got this whole reflections, and I realized that, the identity is mine, and there shouldn't be anyone actually telling me otherwise. And so ever since at that time, I want to tell that I have the rights to actually decide of where I want to live and how I actually want to perceive myself. That's the most important part. So I started off actually at that time sharing through my blogs, sharing through social medias at that time, because what I feel is my experience living in Singapore and having these comparisons between living in Singapore and in Jakarta gives me the privilege, and I want actually a lot of people, especially my fellow Indonesian Chinese, to feel the same way as I am, to finally get the perspectives that it's okay to be Chinese and to be Indonesian. It's okay to be who we are. There's nothing wrong with that, and to actually celebrate that identity, because during that the period when I was a teenager, I realized that it was really, really sad to know who you are, but not being able to express who you are, I guess.
Ya, jadi itu selama saya di Singapura saya merasakan keistimewaan, saya mendapatkan keistimewaan karena di Indonesia saya minoritas, di Singapura saya menjadi bagian dari mayoritas, di mana orang keturunan Cina di sana 70% dan sisanya 30% adalah dari etnis lain. Dari situ saya merefleksikan semua praduga, semua hubungan internasional, semua hal-hal yang saya rasakan itu, saya kemudian mengumpulkan refleksi saya merasakan, memutuskan bahwa identitas itu ada milikmu, identitasmu tidak perlu diatur-atur oleh orang lain. Kamu memiliki hak untuk menjalani hidupmu dan menjalani apa yang kamu persepsikan tentang dirimu sendiri. Kemudian refleksi ini saya bagikan di blog, di sosial media saya bagikan pengalaman saya tentang keistimewaan yang saya refleksikan, saya tunjukkan ke teman-teman saya bahwa tidak apa-apa loh, boleh loh kamu menjadi orang Cina tapi juga orang Indonesia. Kita menselebrasikan siapa diri kita, identitas kita. Karena waktu saya remaja, saya merasakan sedihnya. Saya tahu siapa diri saya, tapi saya tidak bisa mengekspresikan diri saya.
Okay, thank you. So I think it's interesting because country-wise, it's kind of sort of like simple for you, like Indonesia, Singapore, and then back to Indonesia. But your inner journey, I think, is much more complex. I'll return to you with the new identity as a writer later. But I'll ask Warsan to please tell us your story. Thank you.
Selamat sore semuanya.
Sore Warsan.
I have to respect bahasa Indonesia. I really love it, but I don't know why I didn't lancar. But I wish one day. Thank you. You really. I listen here from bottom of my heart. So being a flea, there's two kind of flea, two kinds of fly. You fly for free and forced to flee. So when it's become a refugee, an immigrant, minority people, this is not their choice to leave the place they are belong to. And I don't think someone can imagine the inner pain that people are going through that. I'm a Warsan. I choose this my band name. And Warsan is the meaning of good words lady. If you see in my native language, Warsan, it means good news or good words. Good words.
Good words.
Yeah.
Good news or good
words.
Good
words, good news. Always you have to tell a positive thing when you have this name. That's why I call my band name. But my identity is Nemo. I'm originally from Somalia. Somalia is a conflict country in East Africa. 18 million people in Africa. I don't know the word of peace when I was born there. I grew up middle of weapons, chaos, blood to kill some person. It was my normal life that I grew up. But the miraculous, I get chance to escape from that. If you ask me how, it's really difficult. Because when God saves you, you don't know the way. You just came up somewhere. Indonesia is not my destination. My destination was a home that I can survive physically, mentally, and can I find a peace. The funeral of Indonesia, it was really risky. We close to died. The story of my funeral, I'll make it 1 minute. We don't want to go through that. Somalia and Indonesia, when you go to travel, is 1 day and a half. With the transit, 1 day and a half, you are going to Somalia and to Indonesia by plane. But according to our, oh sorry, I forget. I'm in
I will try my best. Jadi tentang orang yang kabur dari negaranya ya, itu ada 2 kategorinya. Itu kabur karena pilihan bebas atau dipaksa untuk kabur, dipaksa untuk melarikan diri. Sebagai imigran, sebagai minoritas, melarikan diri dari negaranya itu bukanlah pilihan. Dan rasa sakit yang dialami oleh mereka itu hanya mereka yang bisa mengalami, yang bisa merasakan. Nama saya sendiri Warsan. Warsan itu dalam bahasa saya itu artinya kabar baik atau kata baik. Jadi saya adalah perempuan dengan kata baik atau kabar baik. Somalia itu negara di Asia Timur, ada 18 juta orang di sana. Indonesia sebenarnya bukan tujuan saya. Saya itu dari naik pesawat Somalia ke Indonesia itu 1,5 hari waktunya. Namun Indonesia ya mencari tempat di mana saya bisa bertahan hidup secara mental, secara fisik, dan di mana saya bisa menemukan kedamaian.
Yeah. So when we have a document in Somalia, in Indonesia is blacklisted. You cannot own a rifle in Indonesia. But in Malaysia, we are on arrival, not required visa. There is a smuggler process who will bring you in Malaysia. And then when you arrive in Malaysia, you want to take a boat from Kuala Lumpur, then to Medan. It's a boat. The condition of boat is very bad. The water can enter, you can die any single time. And that scenario was, you have to say goodbye to the world. When I enter that boat, I don't know how to swim. The people in the boat is not your choice. It can be different country, same beach with you looking for a peace. Everybody ran away to find a home. That home will give them their rights to survive in this world. And then in 6 years before, I'm landed in Medan by the boat, and then we get a bus to transit in Jakarta.
Ya jadi dari Somalia ke Indonesia sendiri tidak bisa masuk sebetulnya. Indonesia itu blacklist Somalia untuk masuk. Saya jadi dapat visa on arrival, visanya itu ke Malaysia. Dari Malaysia saya saya melakukan perjalanan saya ke Medan. Itu naik perahu, naik boat. Itu kondisi boatnya parah sekali, airnya bocor di boatnya. Itu ketika saya masuk ke dalam perahunya, itu saya sudah siap untuk pamit ke dunia. Saya udah siap, soalnya saya tidak tahu apa yang akan terjadi ketika saya masuk perahu tersebut. Dan perahu tersebut itu orangnya macam-macam, tidak hanya saya saja. Itu mereka ada orang-orang dengan tujuan sama. Mereka mencari kedamaian, mereka mencari rumah baru, mereka mencari rumah di mana mereka memiliki hak untuk bisa bertahan hidup. Kayak saya tiba di Medan, setelah itu saya melanjutkan perjalanan dengan naik bus menuju Jakarta.
The first time I arrived in Jakarta, it was 2 a.m. at midnight. I ended up in front of Gondandian station. Gondandian, it's a central Jakarta. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, it's so close to UNHCR headquarters in Indonesia. So the smuggler told us there is a UNHCR. They give you home, they give you everything, and you will be survivor in Indonesia. And that's not exist at all. UNHCR give you a paper. That paper is a protection. to stay in Indonesia, and the immigration of Indonesia recognize you are an outsider. So Indonesia, they don't have a place or position for refugees. But under the law, under human rights in Indonesia, the refugee have rights to access protection and security. That's why many of refugees ended up homeless the first time they arrived in Indonesia. So
ya, saya tiba di Jakarta 2 jam 2 pagi waktu itu. Saya tiba di stasiun Gondang Dia. Kenapa saya di stasiun Gondang Dia? Karena saya mau ke kantor pusat UNHCR, itu di Kebon Sirih ya. Jadi Kebon Sirih di UNHCR itu saya berusaha untuk menunjukkan bahwa saya adalah seorang pengungsi, seorang refugee. Akhirnya saya diberikan 1 lembar kertas oleh UNHCR menunjukkan bahwa saya seorang pengungsi, saya orang asing, saya dari luar Indonesia. Di Indonesia sendiri tidak menyiapkan tempat untuk pengungsi. Namun kertas tersebut tadi memberikan saya hak, perlindungan dan juga keselamatan bagi saya. Itulah sebabnya banyak sekali pengungsi asing yang datang ke Indonesia, biasanya mereka malah menjadi gelandangan atau homeless.
Let me make it short. So the refugee in Indonesia, we don't have a right to walk, to drive, to earn money, to have a pre-certificate, to go education like a college or any schools. It is kind of like a prison. So most of refugee in Indonesia we call a green prison that doesn't have recognized as human inside the refugee. But as a Nemo or Warsen, I take the chance of peace. Since I have a peace and I understand the word of peace, I can access in Indonesia. I change all my positivity to start something. And the first thing I start was learning a language. Abakabar Dimana. It's become the key of my safety. I changed my name. The people call Orang Hitam. And it is the first time I realized that I'm a black skinned lady when I was in Somalia in my life. Before I don't know, I think I'm okay with everyone. And then they called me Orang Hitam. I said, are you Hitam? Kamu juga mandi? Yeah, I take shower every day. It doesn't mean this. So it really was the first time I know I came a place that not know my culture, my language, my skin, and I need to struggle.
Dan harus diketahui bahwa pengungsi di Indonesia tidak memiliki hak. Mereka tidak punya hak untuk bekerja, mereka tidak punya hak untuk mengendarai kendaraan, mereka tidak punya akta kelahiran, mereka tidak bisa bersekolah atau melakukan pendidikan di Indonesia. Itulah sebabnya saya melihat perjalanan ini yang memanusiakan saya. Saya berusaha untuk mencari kedamaian dan saya merubah perjalanan saya menjadi positif. Dan saya membawa hal positif itu, saya belajar bahasa Indonesia, belajar apa kabar di mana. Dan di sini saya disadarkan, di Indonesia saya disadarkan bahwa kulit saya berbeda, kultur saya berbeda dan bahasa saya berbeda. Shall I mention about the orang hitam? Jadi orang bilang, oh orang hitam. Terus saya baru sadar warna kulit saya. Soalnya di Somalia semua orang tuh sama saya seperti saya normal, saya bisa-bisa di Somalia. Namun di sini saya disadarkan ternyata warna kulit saya beda dengan orang-orang di Indonesia.
And then I realized I need to face the reality. I realized I need to stand up myself, my rights. And I start to learn English from zero. A, B, C, D, S, R, like. And then when I speak English, I find an opportunity to teach others. And growing up from unrespected country for a women's rights in Somalia, I decided to stand up for a women's rights, especially girls like me. When I arrived in Indonesia, I was just 20 years old. And I realized many young girls like me, they cannot read, they cannot write. And then I started the first class teaching women in a basic English and maths to understand the numbers and this.
Jadi saya disadarkan di sini bahwa saya harus memperjuangkan hak saya harus memperjuangkan hidup saya. Itulah saya belajar bahasa Inggris mulai dari awal, belajar ABC mulai dari awal, dan dari situ saya berkesempatan untuk mengajar orang lain. Saya juga berusaha memperjuangkan hak-hak perempuan di sini, dan saya bisa memperjuangkan hak perempuan itu dengan mengajarkan mereka belajar membaca dan menulis, belajar bahasa Inggris. Saya mengajarkan membuka kelas untuk mengajar bahasa Inggris dan mengajarkan matematika.
And then finally I start to think about myself. What do you like? What do you want to do? In this country, I don't have a public voice. I can use my voice to advocate myself because of law. I don't have a capacity or privileged life like I can access the other country or I choose what I want. Then I take the pen. I realize I have a hobby to write something, and that day was today I realized to become a writer. And the first article, I read many in my native language to attack the patriarchal system, the traditional system, the diversity and everything. And then I become to start together the archipelago. The archipelago is one of home that I start myself to become a writer. And then I support the rest marginalized group. I am not called only refugee. Marginalized group can be anyone who haven't respect his rights as a human. And I believe the pen can talk if the people shut up your words, but your pen can reach wherever. I was in Indonesia, Jakarta, but my article for refugee women rights education is public middle of Australia. That means my pen ran away the speed my speak. And the archipelago I start with one of my friends, Karen. He's originally from Australia, and we start all the barrier to make the world change, to remap the writing, respect the creative writing and this stuff. We took that later, and then I'm continue to learn about Bahasa Indonesia because I feel discriminated, I feel humiliated, I feel I'm outsider. And I start to be friends RT RW Ibu-Ibu. Do you know my name now? I'm Hitamanis.
Hitamanis. Ya, itu itulah saya karena saya juga undang-undang di Indonesia tidak memperbolehkan saya menyuarakan pendapat saya secara publik, secara umum. Itulah saya berusaha untuk mencari keistimewaan. Saya mencari cara bagaimana saya menyuarakan diri saya, kemudian saya mengambil pulpen, saya memulai hobi saya, dan saya memutuskan saya ingin menjadi penulis. Pertama saya menggunakan bahasa saya sendiri, bahasa asli saya sendiri, menjelaskan mengenai keberagaman, mengenai sistem. Kemudian saya membentuk archipelago. Ini adalah harapan atau hope bagi saya yang menyuarakan kelompok-kelompok termarginalisasi. Kelompok yang termarginalisasi ini bukan hanya pengungsi, namun orang-orang yang tidak dihormati hak-haknya sebagai manusia. Ketika saya mencoba menulis, saya sadar kalau pena saya bisa bersuara lebih lantang daripada ketika saya berbicara. Ketika itu saya mulai menulis, ada badan organisasi di Australia yang mempublikasikan artikel saya yang saya tulis. Dan saya menggunakan kesempatan ini untuk menyuarakan diri saya. Jadi pena lebih lantang daripada saya berbicara. Kemudian saya juga belajar bahasa Indonesia supaya saya tidak didiskriminasi, tidak dipermalukan, tidak dihina. Saya ikut akrab dengan ibu-ibu RT tempat saya tinggal. Katanya nama bahasa Indonesia Mbak Hitam Manis katanya.
Ya, bukan orang hitam anymore. So this is what I say, humanity of a nationality. If you believe humanity, you don't need to prejudice the people, color, identity, where they're from. And being a refugee is not your choice. And one of us in this room tomorrow can be refugee. Good example for Ukraine. They never think they will be refugee. So to feel a home. Indonesia, I have a hope, but I don't have a home. Thank you.
Thank you, Warsan.
Jadi,
I think
saya tutup yang
okay.
terakhir.
Sorry,
nggak apa-apa. Jadi itu makanya saya lihat bahwa kemanusiaan itu di atas nasionalisme atau negara. Jadi kemanusiaan itu lebih daripada warna kulit, daripada identitas negara Anda. Orang tuh menjadi pengungsi bukan pilihan. Saya di sini di hadapan Anda semua sebagai pengungsi. Siapa tahu siapa yang akan menjadi pengungsi besoknya. Negara-negara seperti Ukraina itu bisa jadi pengungsi di sini. Jadi saya merasa Indonesia itu adalah hope atau harapan saya. Namun belum menjadi home atau rumah saya.
Thank you. We still have 20 minutes. I would like to return to Margie and Warsan already told us about how she became a writer, how the pen lent her power to go far and then also have voice. And I think what's interesting is your situation is different, but I think both of you can share something like deep and poignant at the same time, even though the situation is kind of like different. So please tell us, Margie, about your journey becoming a writer. And
Thank you so much. I always wanted to be a writer. I think to be a writer is actually to bring a world that has never been seen by anyone else to someone's. And I kind of feel like it's a very powerful tool when it comes to actually I call it writing the world I want to live in. What I felt at that time was we, the so-called the minority groups, we were taught to keep quiet. We were taught to play dead. Just don't talk. Just don't say your opinion. Just don't do anything, you know. And in some sense, we kind of follow it, but then it doesn't help the situations, because when we don't actually say anything, we don't actually tell them what we want to be perceived at, then how could anybody actually would be able to see it? And so I kind of used initially to use the my blog to actually express my opinions about how things are, how actually everything's being perceived. And the blog was called margarita.web.id. Now it's Margarita. Margarita is, you know, the drinks, right? The drinks, because
your favorite one?
My favorite noise, because whenever I say my name is Margarita, and then people will go, oh, Margarita, that kind of things. But then it becomes a philosophy, because Margarita is usually a very light drinks, like happy, cheerful, sweet drinks, and then after a few glasses, then you pass out. And so my methods actually at that time is I want to bring a share of these issues to speak out, but not in the very harsh and loud words, but more in the light and tone manner that people would actually not feel defensive about it. This is.
I read this piece and it's such a poignant
this
one.
Is,
saya terjemahkan dulu.
Funny and very
buat audiens. Ya, jadi kenapa saya ingin menjadi penulis ya, karena saya juga ingin menunjukkan ke dunia yang ingin saya tinggali ya, dunia ideal yang seperti apa yang ingin saya tinggali. Jadi menulis itu adalah sebuah tools atau perangkat yang sangat powerful, yang sangat kuat. Sebagai minoritas saya sudah seumur hidup disuruh untuk bungkam, jangan ngomong apa-apa, jangan melakukan apa-apa, jangan ngapa-ngapain pokoknya. Tapi kalau kita diam saja, kita tidak apa-apa, walaupun saya patuh, jadi orang tidak tahu apa yang kita inginkan, orang tidak tahu apa kita ingin diperlakukan seperti apa. Itulah sebabnya saya mulai menulis di blog saya Margarita, minuman yang ringan, manis, ceria, namun 2 teguk langsung bikin mabok. Seperti itu. Itulah sebabnya saya ingin berbagi isu-isu yang berat, namun saya ingin santai, membawanya secara santai sehingga orang-orang tidak merasa tersinggung atau merasa marah.
Okay, so for me, my experience is a privilege, and it has to be something shared. One of the privileges is actually living in Singapore, but another thing is to have the experience with my farmers, and also my experience when I was a kid and everything, to see that it's actually the world that we can actually bridge to. Like we can actually create a world where we could live in. So this is just an example of the story that I feel is of my privilege to hear this story. So it was during that time when my aunt still living in Tanah Abang. Tanah Abang is our family, my mom's family house. And at that time, her neighbors actually joined the riot group to Jatinegara, Ramayana Jatinegara. And when she came back and she actually told my aunt at that time, Ci, encing nggak ikutan ngejarah gitu di Ramayana gitu. And then my aunt was kind of shocked because wait, what is it all about gitu. And then she continued saying, saya kesana Ci gitu, I was there. And then joining this group of people with a car, and then when we reached there, it's almost being burnt. So I just took whatever I could take, because the front part is always the bra and underwears in that kind of shopping mall. So she took that's few, and then she went back. And then when she reached, she said that I didn't even see the size, But if the size fits you, she took 4 bras. I'll give 2 to you. So this kind of story that I remember at the same time I remember a riot as being something very hurtful for me, very scary. There was also some warm stories like this, that my aunt was not being perceived as outsider. Everybody knew that she's Chinese. Anci, she called it Anci, but the lady shared the bras, the loot to my aunts, a friend. So this kind of personal experience that I think has to be shared to a lot of people, because then it kind of depict a different world than what we always knew or assumed.
Jadi ini pengalaman cerita pengalaman saya di Singapura ada keistimewaan, namun saya juga ingin bercerita pengalaman saya di masa kecil. Saya rasa saya bisa menjembatani dunia yang kita bisa tinggal. Ini ada cerita waktu tentang tante saya yang tinggal di Tanah Abang. Itu tetangganya itu ikutan menjarah di Ramayana. Dan waktu itu di Ramayana ternyata ditanya, Ci nggak ikutan ngejarah juga tuh di Ramayana gitu. Waktu itu kata tetangganya semua udah kebakaran, akhirnya cuman bisa menjarah BH ya atau kutang ya di sini ya. Kemudian ini saya juga nggak tahu nih kutang ukurannya pas apa enggak nih, cocok nggak? Kalau cocok udah Ci ambil aja nih kutangnya gitu, seperti itu. Nah terus ini menurut saya cerita yang menarik, karena menurut saya kerusuhan 98 itu menyakitkan memang. Cuman ada cerita-cerita yang menghangatkan seperti ini, bahwa tetangga saya tidak menganggap tante saya itu sebagai orang asing. Tetangga saya itu tidak melihat tante saya itu sebagai orang Cina, dan bahkan berkeinginan juga, mau juga hasil jarahannya dibagi juga ya sama tante saya. Nah itu adalah suatu
very generous.
Very generous. Jadi itu suatu hal yang menurut saya cerita-cerita ini harus dibagikan ke dunia, bahwa sebenarnya semua itu bisa dijembatani.
Okay, yeah, and then another story is when I was during 2017, the point that you have to speak out, and I encourage people to speak out, is people start putting printing this paper, say pribumi, so everywhere, and I was with my car at the time, so I came to the guy who distribute this paper. So I asked them like, Pak, can I have one of it? And he looked at me. I was with highlights all the time, and I didn't look pribumi at that time. So he was like, oh, no, cannot. And I was like, he didn't even dare to look at my eyes. So I was like, why? Kan saya juga pribumi, Pak, gitu. I'm pribumi. And he was like, oh, no. And then I was saying like, dasar pelit. Biarin saya print sendiri stikernya. And then so at that time I made the point that when actually being confronted, people with prejudice, they don't even know what it is. So that's when I started to feel more encouraged to actually write in blogs and also in books with the same kind of methods. I tried to write sad stories, but eventually it didn't make me feel good. It makes me feel sad and depressed. So I changed. I feel like the writings also helped me as a therapy to actually make fun of the situations and make things lighter. And what I feel is a lot of people, they are less reluctant to read heavy stuff when it's actually light and more a human story, because it's something that they can imagine, it's something that they can relate, and it helps to kind of expand their empathy a bit, so they will be able to understand the world that I want to live in.
Thank you.
Jadi memang di tahun 2017 ini adalah itu adalah momen di mana saya merasa perlu menyuarakan diri saya secara lantang, karena itu banyak orang menyebarkan stiker-stiker ya Mbak. Stiker-stiker pribumi ditempel di mobil. Waktu itu saya ke orangnya yang nyebar-nyebar stiker itu, saya bilang, bisa minta satu nggak? Orangnya tahu saya seperti apa, Mbak Marji seperti apa. Orang itu bilang nggak boleh, tapi nggak berani ngeliat mata Mbak Marji. Terus saya bilang ya udah, saya bikinnya stiker sendiri, dasar pelit gitu. Nah itu saya belajar kalau orang dikonfrontasi, bahkan orang dengan praduga, mereka juga tidak paham apa yang mereka lakukan. Itu sebabnya itu semua saya tulis di blog saya. Awalnya saya nulis cerita sedih, tapi malah tambah sedih. Jadi saya lihat menulis ini sebagai terapi untuk kita menertawakan diri kita, untuk menertawakan hidup kita. Dan saya lihat orang juga lebih mau membaca tulisan saya kalau tulisan saya dibuat secara ringan, sehingga orang itu bisa berempati, bisa memahami, dan orang itu paham dunia yang hendak kita hidupi ya.
Okay, thank you, Marji. I think what's powerful is like you change your like people victimize you, but you refuse to be a victim, and with humor you flip the position into something like more empowering. I think your stories are empowering. Thank you for writing your stories. So Warsan, about your writing, could you tell us maybe your favorite story that you have ever written to us?
Thank you very much. Really, I would like a little bit to explain what writing means to me. So the writing is my healing. Some people, when they feel the pain, they go to the doctor and then they use medicine, right? Whenever I feel a pain, not physical pain, too broken and then your blood is come out, not like that. When you feel heartbroken, when you feel the people not listen your voice, I take my pen and I write whatever I want. Whenever I hold my pen or I type in my laptop, it's my freedom stage. I feel the most free person in the world. I am agree with sister. I sick of sad story, but I really always support and I train my flowers to make creative. Many people, when they see refugee story, they say, oh my God, it's so sad. No, it's your lesson. The refugee stories, minority groups story, marginalized people story is a lesson you can take from something. One of the archaeological stuff that we do is the purpose to reshape the stories in a creative way. Not to say I'm from Afghanistan, Taliban kick me, but I have to tell the meaning, the character, that the writing is come from there, what I'm feeling, what happened there, and the people will be aware of. So I believe writing is a most powerful tool. I agree with her 100%. And it is the way the human can understand something. I'm not talking about the people who not underestimate the others, but someone need for justice, someone need for better world, because now we are human destroying the world. So the archipelago is the one of the purpose we are collected to this together for fighting better future. We killing animals, we using plastic, not only for refugees, not only for minority groups, but look around. That is what I was thinking inside this year. So really writing and encourage the people to read. The more you read is the more you understand someone's life. But don't cover the page. Refugee orang kaya, no, you don't know. But read their story. Read the minority story. Oh, sorry, interrupt.
I'll give it to you now. Give opportunity to you.
Ya, jadi kata Mbak Warsan ya di sini, menulis itu adalah proses penyembuhan, pemulihan. Jadi kalau misalnya rasa sakit, bukan sakit fisik, kalau sakit fisik bisa ke dokter minta obat ya. Kalau sakit keluar darah itu bisa ke dokter. Cuma kalau misalnya sakit heartbroken, patah hati, itu saya ambil pulpen. Atau saya ambil laptop, itu saya rasanya saya merasa menjadi orang paling bebas seluruh dunia. Jadi banyak orang bilang, oh kalau misalnya cerita pengungsi itu sedih ya, cerita orang minoritas sedih ya. Bukan, justru itu ada pelajaran bagi kita semua. Dari situ ada pesannya, dari pelajaran itu kita bisa memahami manusia. Bahwa itulah archipelago di sini. Archipelago di sini adalah mengumpulkan orang-orang di seluruh dunia yang berjuang untuk masa depan yang lebih baik. Dan di sini juga orang-orang yang ingin dunia yang lebih baik, orang-orang yang ingin mencari keadilan di dunia, kita bisa membantu memahami mereka. Masalah-masalah juga tadi di dunia ya, seperti masalah plastik. Kita lihat saja orang-orang di dunia kita, dan kita menulis, dan kita dorong orang-orang untuk membaca. Dari orang-orang semakin banyak membaca, orang-orang bisa saling memahami satu sama lain.
One of my favorite story that I start early, it was language barrier. Language barrier. When I came to Indonesia, it was one of our, I laugh now because it's very funny, but that moment is not funny. One of my friends, she told me, you have to go Puskesmas. The Puskesmas is a public health center, right? Then Puskesmas, like my Gojek person is lost. He give me another way. And then there is Indonesian lady. I want to ask her, where is the Puskesmas? And then I'm say, you have to speak Bahasa. Because if I speak English or Arabic, she will say, maaf, automatically. Then I said, maaf bu. Then she said, okay. I asked her, aku di mana? I said to her, aku di mana bu? And ibu, mau tolong. She said, okay, aku di mana? Then ibu, she said, kamu sini. Ibu, aku di mana? Kamu sini lah. Ya Allah. Then itu. Yeah, I translate like English and many languages to tell the people language is important. The way they impact me. And do you know, I'm insisted that Ibu understand where's the Puskesmas. I said, Ibu di mana? I think aku di mana, I understand already di mana is Puskesmas. That's my problem of understanding. And then you said, capek, aku gak tahu. Then she jalan. She give up, and then I back home, and other friend helping me. So this is really the way the culture diversity. It is always I write 200 words when I want to creative to tell the world what I'm feeling. And the other word was like in Indonesia when the people in front like they are sitting, you have to say permisi. But in Somalia, since the people are sitting in public place, you don't need to say permisi. So it's the culture diversity. Then my co-owner always, she's sitting in front of her, I just pass. And then she's already upset me, angry with me. And the second day she get the chance, I have an Indonesian friend. Then she said, I teach her. She said, I introduced them. She's my friend Indonesian, said, boleh belajar dia, gak tahu akhlak orang begede. And my friend, she said to me, what are you helping your ibu? I said, oh no, she's a sweet lady. I don't do her anything. She said, she didn't never say permisi. And you know, I really take book and pen to learn, permisi. So now the first thing I teach the foreigner, I said, use permisi. You know, wherever we are. So this is I already give awareness from foreigner people like me to be aware of how the culture impact your life. Because that Ibu, now she's love me, she's my friend. But before permisi, I was unrespect person for her. But I was full of respect, but I don't know how to deal with her. So that's one of my two funny Indonesian stories.
Ya, jadi salah satu cerita dulu waktu di Indonesia, judulnya Batasan Bahasa, Language Barrier ya. Sekarang sih lucu, tapi dulu pas mengalami tidak lucu sama sekali. Waktu mau ke puskesmas itu naik ojeknya kesasar, terus saya nanya ibu-ibu. Tapi karena waktu itu bingung bahasa Indonesia apa bahasa Arab, saya bilang bahasa Indonesia aku di mana, cuman bilang ya di sini, aku di mana. Padahal waktu itu mau nanya puskesmas di mana. Akhirnya karena bingung saya pulang ke rumah, ibu-ibunya juga nyerah, akhirnya ibu-ibu ninggalin saya pulang. Akhirnya juga saya minta tolong teman saya untuk cari puskesmas di sana. Terus juga keberagaman budaya juga ya, saya juga dulu ada ibu-ibu, kalau saya di Somalia lewat aja, di sini ternyata lewat harus bilang permisi dulu ngelewatin ibu-ibu. Ada ibu-ibu marah, kok nggak ada akhlak, lewat aja nggak bilang permisi. Terus akhirnya waktu itu saya diajarin sama teman saya Indonesia, kalau lewat bilang permisi gitu. Akhirnya setelah bilang permisi, akhirnya saya sama ibu itu jadi temenan. Padahal ibu itu dulu bilang saya nggak punya akhlak gitu. Nah itu yang saya ajarkan ke orang asing kalau di Indonesia, kalau lewat bilang permisi seperti itu.
Yeah, so this is really the way I start to make the writing my daily, and also it's giving me a lot of attention to be look around where am I and what kind of people I am dealing with them. And then the archipelago, when we are start this project, we realize many people, they don't know how to write. Like they want to write, but you know, when you write something, you have to know how to write the things and how to bring your voice out. And the archipelago main reason was, as a refugee, all our story in a commercial basis. If something happened in Somalia, all the people who have a promotion is in writing stuff, they call you, oh, Warsin, can you tell me what's going on in Somalia? In Taliban, can you tell me what's going on in Afghanistan? Then the archipelago, we say, let us train the people who belong to the story. The people who is the owner of story, they can write and they can do something. The main inspiration, I become a director collective in Indonesia. It's not something I want to become like director, but it's something that I want to make sure my words is written the way I want. So when it's commercial stories, they can change the words, they don't like it. And it's happened to me in 2017. I give all my story about the Indonesian refugee situation from a journalist. When she public, no one my words there. She used her own words. And then as a refugee, we start to write our story and we send it the publications. They rejected. No, we are busy for Donald Trump election. We are busy for this. So why we didn't have a home that helping us to publish our story without promotion. Then the archipelago idea start from there to make the refugees, to train them and then to give them translators. So the most thing is we provided it to support translator, editing, and then the publication. And then publication as a non-profit magazine, we give them what's called like small commercial. Because the refugee situation is very hard, so that writer can cover his internet data, his coffee or something. I know some writers to write all his story 2,000 words in their small phone. I know some writers in refugees, they write in a hand and then they go public library, some places, and then they use a public library computer. That is the challenge, but they have a desire to become someone they want to be tomorrow. An understanding in Indonesia, because whenever I am represent the archipelago, it's the island connection. And Indonesia have a beautiful country.
Itulah saya dengan menulis saya jadi lebih mawas diri, saya tahu saya di mana, saya tahu orang-orang di sekitar saya gimana, dan itulah mengapa saya mendirikan memulai archipelago. Biasanya orang-orang yang di archipelago ini fungsi-fungsi mereka biasanya tidak tahu bagaimana menulis, mereka tidak tahu bagaimana menyuarakan diri mereka. Dan ketika mereka pun menulis, biasanya hanya orang-orang yang tertarik tuh orang-orang ingin mengkomersialkan saja tulisan mereka. Misalnya apa yang terjadi di Somalia, terus datang ke saya, Warsan apa yang terjadi di Somalia gitu. Orang itu, tapi kalau saya sebagai direktur di sini, saya memastikan bahwa kata-katanya orang-orang bisa menyuarakan diri mereka sesuai dengan kata-kata mereka sendiri. Masalah komersialisasi ini terjadi 2017, ada jurnalis yang datang ke saya minta saya menceritakan tulisan saya, tapi ketika dipublikasikan tulisannya itu kata-kata saya tidak ada di situ sama sekali. Kemudian ketika saya membuat tulisan lagi tentang pengungsi, mereka bilang oh kita lagi sibuk dengan pemilu Donald Trump. Jadi mereka belum tertarik dengan tulisan saya seperti itu. Itulah makanya di Archipelago ini kita orang-orang bisa menulis apa yang mereka tulis sesuai dengan suara mereka bisa menyuarakan diri mereka. Itu sebabnya kita juga mendukung penerjemah, translator, editor, dan orang yang mempublikasikan juga. Ini juga orang ini bisa penulis bisa mendapat komisi karena juga kadang-kadang penulis kan juga butuh internet. Saya juga tahu penulis itu nulis di handphone. Ada penulis nulis di tangan. Terus mereka ke perpustakaan menggunakan perpustakaan untuk menulis tulisan mereka. Padahal ini orang-orang ini adalah orang-orang yang memiliki hasrat untuk memiliki hidup yang lebih baik daripada diri mereka sekarang.
Yeah, at the end of my word is about writing. The more we write the story, the more the people understand. The more awareness and the people connection, our relationship increase. I realize since we are a 14,000 refugee in Indonesia, middle of 260 million Indonesian, right? You can see, they don't know us. Then we start to cooperate the Indonesian organizations. I really have a chance to say thank you, Master Muta Tuli. It's the first cooperation project in Indonesia. Take the refugee story to translate in Bahasa. That shows us human can make a relationship, not according to law, but we can share the stories in different way. And the same way that the Archipelago, since we are a refugee founded magazine, doesn't mean we only wait the refugee, but we also give a chance Indonesian writers. I was joining American festival, then I tell how Indonesia is beautiful. Can you realize all the people know Bali? They don't know Ancol, they don't know many beautiful places. I said like, okay, why the Indonesian island, Indonesian resources, only Bali is famous? Some people Bali think it's a country. That's why I realized we Indonesian culture, Indonesian writers, artists, they need to be also translated their work in English. So we provided translations to change Bahasa Indonesia and the world here. So as a refugee, we are not here just takers, also we want to be givers. And that's really my point. Always many people, when they hear the word of refugee or immigrant, they think they are dumb people, they don't have anything. But really there's a very useful people. There's a doctors, writers, artists. There's a refugee artist, when they draw something, you realize, wow, even you love them. But they don't get the chance to hear them. They don't get the space. So we try to make their home, to not say, where are you from? Then everybody have creative artists or creative writing to be published. Since they are human, since they are doing an idea to change the world, the idea to reduce discrimination, the idea to taking care of ourselves is better way. So it's great honor for you to be your collaboration.
Thank you. It's an honor for us. It's
absolutely yeah.
So far we have published 2, right? And Warsans is the next. So please make sure you follow the Archipelago to so you won't miss out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, Mas Bimo. Before I will just like you know the logistics. Like after this, we open for Q&A. We take questions from you and also from audience from YouTube. Yeah. So yeah, please.
I just want to clarify the number.
It's okay.
Jadi menulis kita bisa paham orang, menulis kita bisa menyadari, semakin menyadari, dan dengan menulis kita bisa meningkatkan hubungan yang lebih baik. Di Indonesia sekarang ada 14.000 pengungsi di Indonesia, di antara 250 juta orang Indonesia. belum tahu pengungsi siapa, belum bertemu, belum pernah bertemu mungkin dengan pengungsinya, tapi itu makanya bersyukur ada kemitraan dengan kerjasama dengan Multatuli. Ini adalah cara kita juga untuk bisa saling meningkatkan hubungan. Ini Archipelago ini tidak hanya untuk pengungsi saja, namun kita juga membuka kesempatan untuk penulis Indonesia, karena orang-orang di luar sana cuma tahu Indonesia Bali, belum tahu tempat-tempat yang bagus kayak Ancol tadi belum tahu ya. Jadi dengan itu kita bisa memberi kesempatan ruang Indonesia, budaya Indonesia, penulis Indonesia untuk bisa menulis. Makanya kita juga ada penerjemah, translator itu bisa menerjemahkan bahasa Indonesia ke bahasa Inggris. Ini pengungsi kata itu ini orang-orang, bukan orang-orang cuma ngambil-ngambil aja loh, bukan takers doang. Kita juga ingin pengungsi itu berkontribusi juga. Orang bilang kalau ngeliat imigran atau pengungsi itu nggak ada gunanya, padahal di antara pengungsi atau imigran tuh banyak di antara mereka penulis, banyak di antara mereka yang seniman, banyak di antara mereka kalau misalnya diberi ruang, diberi kesempatan mereka juga bisa berkarya. Jadi jangan tanya itu asalnya dari mana saja, tapi mereka ini orang-orang yang bisa memiliki gagasan-gagasan untuk merubah dunia, untuk mengubah dunia menjadi lebih baik.
Thank you. We'll take questions. Okay. Any takers? Anyone wants to ask or just appreciate these two writers? Yeah, applause first. Thank you. Any questions from YouTube? None so far? Okay. Okay. I think, yeah. Could you please, yeah. Thank you.
Hai, saya bahasa Indonesia aja ya, nanti Mas Bimo tolong terjemahkan. Saya pikir ini sejauh ini adalah diskusi yang paling membuka mata kita tentang situasi kota yang mungkin jarang dilihat oleh orang, dan saya sangat tersentuh dengan cerita dari Warsan tadi. Memang terus terang tanpa membaca tulisan-tulisan Warsan yang juga ditampilkan melalui Multatuli, kita tidak akan tahu bahwa di lipatan-lipatan kota Jakarta ini ada yang lain gitu, ada warga lain yang juga hidup bersama kita, dan kita bahkan tidak menyadari kehadirannya gitu, dan itu sebetulnya menyedihkan. Dan terus terang saya tadi agak sangat tersentuh dan sedikit merasa bersalah gitu bahwa kami tidak menyadari itu.
Oke, saya terjemahan dulu. Bu, I think this session, this forum is the most eye-opening session I've ever participated in trying to understanding the urban situations. I'm very touched with your story, Warsan. Without reading your story through Multatuli, there's no way I would know, I would recognize, I would realize that there are layers in Jakarta. There are people living among us, and we didn't realize that the presence of these people living among us. So it was saddening. I was sad. I was touched by your story, and I felt guilty not knowing that your presence among us.
Ya, sebenarnya saya bukan mau bertanya, tapi membuka pintu untuk kolaborasi ke depan. Kalau misalnya memang ada ide atau ada hal-hal yang mungkin kami bisa kerjakan bersama, kita bisa kolaborasikan bersama, karena ada satu privilege bahwa kami ada di Dewan Kesenian Jakarta, dan saya pikir ini juga Jakarta International Literary Festival harusnya memang menjadi platform untuk banyak kolaborasi ke depan, dan kami juga ingin menjadi sangat inklusif untuk siapapun juga. Mungkin itu saja, Evi, terima kasih.
So,
Thank you, Mbak Vivi.
So on behalf of Dewan Kesenian Jakarta, I would like to open opportunity and door for future collaboration. If you have any ideas, things we can do together with Dewan Kesenian Jakarta, because I think GILF is also a platform for us to become more inclusive.
Do you want to respond to it? Of course, please
respond. Thank you very much.
Fifi Afianti Arman, this is the director of JI.
I really appreciate your understanding. I don't feel guilty because it's not your mistake. But you realize today that's really meaning a lot. So there's many ways you can support the refugee community as a host community, as Indonesian. The first thing is the easy one, to become a good friend, good neighbor, without discrimination, without calling names, and advocate in your family, in your community, in your city. The second thing is like refugee, we have a lot of community projects. So like the archipelago is not a refugee project, it's a writers project around the world, like it's international. But all our income, we support refugee. So if you subscribe and follow this the Archipelago magazine, it means you support one refugee writer and one refugee artist. Also, there is a big project that I'm running as my heart. It's a women's project in Jakarta. We have a very big home in Jakarta. So it's a 500 refugee women taking care of livelihood activity. So that women are single mothers, single women, they really needed the support of host community. So you have all my content, my platform is, and 24/7 I'm open to discuss and also to be a valuable community in these people, not only someone looking for what they want. So thank you very much. That's what I say.
Thank you. Just to be clear, is this the Jakarta community? Is this the Power of Sisterhood?
Yeah, Power of
right?
Sisterhood.
Yeah. If you're curious about it, please open powerofsisterhood.net. Also, I'll repeat again, Sisterhood Community Center on Instagram. Please follow again.
And we have 30 women, Indonesian volunteers. They are professors and they are very, very respectful sisters. So this project I running 5 years. The archipelago is my hobby. At the same time, I'm a writer. So I make my own home to those same with my situation. So that's the two things I'm here today. And thank you for. Yeah, 500.
Jadi saya terjemahkan saja untuk Ibu Vivi. Jadi terima kasih, tapi tidak perlu warga Jakarta, orang Indonesia itu merasa bersalah. Karena memang bukan salah orang Indonesia juga. Jadi ada cara-cara untuk mendukung para pengungsi. Pertama-tama jadilah teman yang baik bagi kita, jadilah tetangga yang baik bagi kita. Tidak perlu mengolok-ngolok kita. Dan jadilah advokat yang baik buat kita, mengadvokasi kami di lingkungan Anda, teman, keluarga, tetangga Anda. Dan juga ada cara juga Anda bisa mendukung pengungsi dengan mendukung proyek Archipelago ini. Ini bukan proyek pengungsi sebetulnya, ini proyek orang seluruh dunia. Tapi mereka memang memiliki kepedulian tentang pengungsi. Jadi ini adalah orang-orang yang ada di seluruh dunia. Kemudian ada juga tadi dijelaskan sama Mbak Warsan itu proyek The Power of Sisterhood ya. Ini thepowerofsisterhood.net, ini bisa dikunjungi websitenya, Instagramnya juga ada ya. Inilah proyek untuk perempuan, pemberdayaan perempuan. Ada 500 pengungsi di sana, kantornya di Jakarta. Ini untuk proyek livelihood di sana. Ini pengungsi-pengungsinya juga orang tua tunggal juga, single parent juga. Jadi ini juga kita membantu mereka agar mereka bisa menjadi anggota masyarakat yang bernilai, yang berharga. Dan juga dibantu oleh 30 perempuan dari Indonesia juga ya, profesor-profesor, ahli-ahli juga dari Indonesia yang membantu proyek ini.
Thank you. We still have 20 minutes, but if there's no question, I will ask Margie a question about your latest book. What is it about, and do you sort of change topic from identity or experience, change topic or not really? So please tell us about your latest book. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My latest book is called The Overqualified Leftover Club. And of course, based on the title, you can kind of imagine what kind of stories. It's I have to be honest, it has nothing to do actually about being Chinese, right? I mean, it's more focusing about being women, especially being 30s women in the cities and not married. so I gather stories of 15 of my friends, and yeah, me, myself, and Inaya Wahid as well. And so we kind of combine the stories, finding the most extreme things that has to be happen, the pressures from families or maybe from the society, and to fictionalize it basically. But that being said, this book is also happening because I've always been wanting to write about the identity issues, about Chinese, Indonesians, and also diversity that comes along us. But I don't feel like actually writing a whole full book about it anymore, because I feel like it's my identity is diverse. I'm a woman. I'm a Chinese Indonesian. I'm Catholics in religions. I'm what I am right now. I'm Jakartans and stuff. So I do not want to just emphasize on it. Just want to so-called commercialize my identity. I wanted to put it as something that is very normal. I want myself to be seen as part of the society, as someone you could see, someone as a friend. So in the background, there are 4 characters in the book, and each one of them will have a different religion and different race as well. So one of it is Indonesian Chinese, obviously, and another one is Muslim, Japanese, and also Manadonese, Christians, and also Padanese and Muslim as well. And I kind of like integrate the issues of being Indonesian Chinese in a much lighter and day-to-day basis. So I'm just picking up one of the story. It's the story is about when this girl is actually being brought to Kelenteng, so that she got some prayer to buat enteng jodoh gitu ya, kalau itu ya, for love potions, and eventually she got the wrong love potions because when she was being prayed for, she didn't understand the language, because Indonesians, especially my generations, we didn't actually learn Mandarin, so we didn't know. She didn't know what kind of phrase given, and eventually she got mantranya kebal bacok. So it's immunity. So it's kind of like kind of
kebal bacok is
kebal bacok tuh apa ya? Immunity, so nobody can hurt you, like. So that kind of issues that I try to integrate in the book itself. So we kind of feel like by doing that, our approach is still a very light, funny stories, day-to-day basis, and we just want to be seen as a human, as not as a victim, not as a saint, not as an angel. We're just human with all our problems, and we have problems. I mean, in the Chinese generation, I do have problems, just the same like all of my fellow Javanese friends having. So that kind of message that I integrate towards the book.
Thank you, Margi. Okay. Please buy Margi's
book. Jadi saya singkat aja ya ceritanya tentang 4 orang, ada 4 tokoh, ada orang Chinese Indonesia, ada Muslim Jawa Muslim, tokohnya ada tokoh Manado juga Cina, dan dari Padang juga Muslim gitu. Jadi ini mereka berinteraksi ini sebenarnya berusaha untuk mengintegrasikan problematika hidup, juga problematika juga Chinese Indonesian, orang Indonesia keturunan Cina. Jadi ceritanya juga ketika mereka kelenteng itu doanya pertama untuk enteng jodoh, tapi salah doa ya Mbak ya, salah doa jadi kebal bacot katanya. Jadi karena salah doa ini, jadi Mbak Margi juga bilang kalau udah masalah identitas, saya juga udah identitas isu, saya udah banyak gitu mengalami identitas isu. Saya sendiri, saya sadar identitas saya beragam, identitas saya banyak. Jadi saya sudah tidak mau komersialkan identitas lagi seperti itu. Jadi ini bukunya Overqualified Leftover Club, ini bercerita tentang para perempuan single berusia di atas 30 tahun. Jadi ini ingin mengkombinasikan apa yang mereka alami. Jadi ada tekanan masyarakat juga, tekanan keluarga juga, mengapa mereka tetap single seperti itu. Beli bukunya jadi.
I almost regretted I'm married because otherwise I can call myself overqualified leftover. An alumni. Oh yeah, I was an alumni actually. So okay, we have about 14 minutes. Do you have like something to say to each other or question to each other?
Thank you. I just would like to complete some opportunity for Indonesia. My slides. We have the archipelago have a promotion for Indonesian or international writers. Anyone who want to publish. And also
So
I would like
if Marji wants to write in the archipelago.
absolutely we would like to have you.
Any topic, Watson?
It's open, totally it's open. It's open for everyone. This is the home for everyone. So this is we written in Bahasa. You can go to the next slide. So this is the magazine. So our magazine is bilingual. Like Farsi we translate in English, Bahasa in English, but English in the main column. We would like to develop on other languages, but still in process. And we are a 2 years and a half magazine, not that too old. And there's also a next month festival. We call a home of the archipelago. I would like to, this is our plans in 2022. We collaborate Indonesian at Mututali is one of our collaborations currently we have, and we hope more others. We're planning to make a home space. The people can, do you know the relationship? When you meet the people first, I'm a face person. Always I like to see you when you talk to me. So this is kind of like understanding each other, integration with the community, wherever you are. Japanese, Jakarta, I don't know, wherever, to understand our artists and then to collaborate. Also, we have a plan to Indonesian international writers, like we can produce a piece of, like the way you feel it and the way I feel is different. Then we can make a creative story, and then the people can understand the common pain, the common advocate or message. At the same time, I also remember I'm middle of surface of mental health. Mental health it's really traumatized me a lot. So when we say mental health, it's the most important thing the human have. So I was doing last 2 years to interview 1,000 orang, almost 1,000 refugees across Indonesia. Their story about mental health. So it will be publishing, but still stuck for editors. You know, editors stuff.
Take your time.
Ya, ini terbuka bagi semua yang ingin menulis. Indonesia's International Writers ini kita terbuka untuk semua penulis yang ingin menulis di majalah kami. Majalah kami itu ada dari bahasa Indonesia, diterjemahkan bahasa Inggris, bahasa Farsi juga diterjemahkan dari bahasa Inggris. Ini terbuka untuk semuanya. Kita baru 2,5 tahun usianya, majalah kita masih baru. Nanti juga mau ada Festival Home of Archipelago juga ada kolaborasi nanti dengan Multatuli. Ini juga tujuan kita adalah untuk meningkatkan hubungan. Kita bertemu tatap muka seperti ini. Saya suka bertatap muka. Dengan bertemu tatap muka di sini kita saling memahami. Saya juga saling memahami Jakarta, memahami seniman di Jakarta, memahami Indonesia juga. Karena ketika kita menulis, saya juga merasa berbeda, Anda rasa berbeda. Dari semua rasa itu, dari tulis itu juga dari menulis, kita bisa saling memahami satu sama lain, perasaan satu sama lain. Terus juga Mbak Warsan tadi menjelaskan tentang kesehatan mental. Ada layanan kesehatan mental juga. Kata kesehatan mental ini penting bagi saya. Juga selama 2 tahun ini mewawancara 1.000 pengungsi di Indonesia, itu kesehatan mental itu sangat menjadi hal yang sangat penting ya untuk atau mendesak bagi para pengungsi tersebut.
So the mental health problem is start from suicides. The refugee in Indonesia, in ASEAN Pacific country, is the highest number of suicide in Indonesia because of lockdown, especially last 2 years. And also the health situation of refugee is totally like, we don't have health assurance. Then many people neglected medical process. So if you visit Sisterhood, you see one of my co-founder friend, she passed away in 2020 from medical neglected under one of public hospitals in Indonesia. So still I say I need that justice. Since I'm a refugee, don't have that rights. But after that I realized the mental health is important. So it doesn't mean we need to always feeling sad each other, but we have to do some action. So as a writer, I want to call action from mental health, calling doctors, a refugee or foreigner languages can be included the hotline suicide's number in Indonesia. This is the thing is that my survey will focus on later. So I hope it will be publishing at the end of 2022, and you can follow up from the archipelago. So at the archipelago is investment all this project because we translated different language to catch all the people's mental health situation from low class to high class. But it is really one message I can send to mental health is not belong to only people Philly but it's for everyone. Even Indonesian. I have friends in Indonesian. They are a privilege in life. They have a money like yes of the life, but mental health is part of their daily life. So my survey is telling like to protect our brains, it means to protect our future. So it is the reason I started. The story make me pain to reduce the suicide and to do that. And I call for everyone in this room or you know it, we can make this world better.
Thank you, Warsan.
Ya, jadi masalah bunuh diri juga ya, ternyata kesehatan mental ini hal yang sangat penting karena di semua negara Asia Pasifik, Indonesia itu untuk di antara pengungsi tingkat bunuh dirinya itu paling tinggi, terutama ketika lockdown, pandemi. Kemudian pengungsi ini juga tidak punya BPJS. Kayak co-founder saya tahun 2020, co-founder passed away.
Yeah, my friend.
Meninggal karena tidak punya BPJS, karena punya masalah kesehatan. Itu juga masalah keadilan, kita juga tidak punya hak-hak di sini. Itu juga merupakan kesehatan mental juga penting. Karena kita tidak bisa hanya sedih-sedihan saja, kita harus ada tindakan. Penulis juga harus bertindak. Misalnya ada ide, misalnya ada hotline untuk mencegah bunuh diri di sini. Itu sebabnya juga ini juga investasi juga di Archipelago karena kita ingin menjangkau semua orang dari semua kalangan. Karena juga yang memiliki masalah kesehatan mental tidak hanya pengungsi saja, orang Indonesia juga orang yang hidup berkecukupan yang memiliki privilege itu juga mereka juga memiliki masalah kesehatan mental berdasarkan survei saya. Itulah di kesempatan ini saya Mbak Warsan mengatakan bahwa saya ingin menyerukan semua orang bahwa kita bisa membuat dunia ini menjadi tempat yang lebih baik.
Thank you, Mas Bimo. We have 6 minutes. I think I'll give 3 minutes each to you for closing statement.
Thank you so much, Warsan. Thank you so much for having me here next to you. It's an honor for me, and it's such a story that you tell. Repeating what Bu Vivi was saying, that without you, without your stories, there is no way I would understand the situations about refugees in Indonesia. So thank you for speaking up. Thank you for enriching my experience today. I hope we can collaborate in different ways. And I also would like to thank you for the Project Mutatuli because I've been following Project Mutatuli and all the stories. Amazing stories. I mean, it's really, really stories that if it's not from you, from Mutatuli, then I would not be able to know those kind of stories. And just repeating and fully agreeing with what Warsan said just now, it's not about having a sad stories or having funny stories. It's all about sharing an experience, and any kind of experience will actually build us into forming us our identity, making a world a better way. And obviously, what I feel is shaping the world that we want to see, where we want to live in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Margie. Please give some applause.
Sini to be translated. Izin, saya singkat aja Mbak ya karena waktu terbatas. Jadi Mbak Warsan merupakan kehormatan bagi Mbak Margie dan buat saya juga pribadi bahwa dari seperti bagaimana yang Ibu Vivi katakan tadi bahwa tanpa Mbak Warsan di sini, tanpa cerita-cerita dari Mbak Warsan kita tidak tahu keberadaan Mbak Warsan, kita tidak tahu bahwa apa yang Mbak Warsan atau pengungsi-pengungsi alami. Jadi terima kasih sudah menyuarakan diri Anda dan mudah-mudahan kita bisa berkolaborasi lebih lanjut. Dan juga untuk proyek Multatuli juga, tanpa cita-cita Multatuli itu kita tidak tahu bahwa ada cita-cita seperti itu. Seperti yang Mbak Warsan tadi katakan, ini tidak hanya cerita sedih atau cerita senang, ini mengenai kita saling berbagi pengalaman. Dengan berbagi pengalaman kita bisa membangun identitas kita dan kita bisa menjadikan dunia lebih baik.
Thank you. Your closing statement, please.
Thank you very much. I'm speechless. Thank you for doing this. It's really great honor. It means to me a lot, and those I'm representative today. I say, as soon as we realize the situation, we can fix it. We don't need to neglect what happened. So every single day we have to wake up some extra point you can fix it the world. You have to wake up extra thing that you can share who's next to you. So it's really great honor for me, and Jakarta International Literary Festival, especially Chita. She's chasing me 3 months. Where are you? So really,
thank you, Chita.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, GILF.
Yeah, Chita is the one who's reason why I'm here today. And I'm really grateful to meet you finally after the screen and Zoom. I don't know what I say, but thank you very much. And I really, motivate me today. I'm the middle of my first book, but when I had 9 books, that means I can make 100 books. And this is what's called women's empowerment, and keep going what I'm doing. And I would like to be part of what I'm doing. And this is my last word. Say thank you, terima kasih. From my Somali language, wa masintihin. From Arabic, shukran. So that's all what I'm saying. And black pressure.
Perkenalkan saya terjemahkan ya walaupun sedekat ya. Jadi terhormat berada di sini Warsan, dan kalau kita sadar kita bisa berbagi keadaan. Terima kasih Jakarta International Literature Forum, Mbak Cita terutama. Berkat Mbak Cita ini, dikejar-kejar Mbak Cita, saya bisa Warsan bisa ada di sini. Kemudian terima kasih juga yang kita lakukan ada pemberdayaan juga, pemberdayaan perempuan. Terima kasih Wa Masinti Sukron.
Thank you all, and thank you GILF. Thank you Mbak Fifi for giving us a platform here to speak. Thank you all, and I think that's a wrap. Thank you.